And now please welcome KRISTY Swanson. Give it up.
How are ya?
Great. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank
That would be nice, yeah.
Now you can hear me.
Absolutely. How you been?
I've been really good.
Well,
I've
welcome.
Been excellent.
Good to see you here again.
Uh-huh.
Again. And would you mind getting to some questions, or do you want to talk a bit? This is your time, whatever you're comfortable with.
Well, you know I'm shy on the,
I know.
Not in person. I'm not shy, but right here. Okay. I'm on a stage and everyone's staring at me. Oh, my God.
It happens.
But, I mean, I have a project coming out on the 27th, PureFlix, which is like a streaming service like Netflix. It's called PureFlix. So it's a faith-based or faith-friendly, actually, show called Sons of Thunder. And it's sort of like bikers and horses and a ranch. And, it's kind of a cool show. And so that comes out on the 27th.
27th?
Yeah.
Of this month?
Of this month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got questions? Let's go to it.
Good.
Some questions. We'll start in the front, and I'll work my way over to you.
Yeah, we'll get you all. And once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I
All
love
right,
it.
first question over here.
Hi, so when you were Buffy, what was the most complicated scene that you had to do?
What was the most complicated scene I had to do? The hardest scene I had to do was the one you just saw in the trailer with Paul Reubens, because I was laughing the entire time. Like, I could not. It was so, like, it was hard to keep a straight face when he did that whole death scene. I was dying. So when you really watch it, you can kind of see that I'm like really trying to hold it, like, and not break, But that was tough. I got to say that was tough. So I guess that falls under complicated, right? I don't know.
We got a question for you right here.
My question was going to be, what was it like working with Pee Wee Herman?
Working with Pee Wee Herman.
Paul Reubens.
Working with Paul Reubens was a total joy. I loved every minute of it. He was just so much fun. Just so easy to work with. He's such a sweet man. And we're still friends. Like he always sends me a Christmas card every year, and always calls me on my birthday. Never misses it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just that kind of guy. And then he doesn't do it every year, but he usually gets me on April Fools, and he spreads it out, so that I don't see it coming. So I talk to him all the time. So yeah, love him.
Was he slated to be the original vampire? Were there other people auditioning for that role?
I don't know the backstory to how he got involved in the project, because I don't think he had done much. And he certainly had never done anything as, like, he always was in some sort of character makeup. He was either Pee-wee or, not recognizable as Paul, right? But now he is doing himself, like he does play himself now, or something like that.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, I don't know the whole backstory to that. It's a good question. Let's call him. No.
Got his number. You got his number.
You have his number, don't you?
Yes.
All right, we got another question right up front here.
How was your experience working with Wes Craven on Deadly Friend?
I told you I wasn't going to ask you that, but I couldn't
I get
guarantee
emotional.
somebody would.
I do. I'm going to try not to get emotional. Frick. He was the best. First of all, that was my first movie, my first feature film, and he believed in me. And it was my first starring role in a feature film, and he's just so missed. And he just took me under his wing, and he was just so lovely to work with. He taught me a lot of things, and he, just a kind, sweet man with a crazy, wicked sense of humor, and I just loved working for him and with him, and And he was actually, he was slated to direct Flowers in the Attic, but that ended up not working out. So I almost worked with him twice, you know. So he's missed by, don't you all miss him?
Yeah.
I mean.
Do you remember who did the special effects on Deadly Friend? I just remember the scene of you throwing a basketball at somebody's head and their head just explodes.
Oh, and Ramsey's head. That was a reshoot, actually, because originally I threw her through her own front door of the house. And I think for some reason, I don't know if it was the stunt or whatever, it just didn't work. And then they thought of a new way of killing her character, and that was with the basketball. And I've had a few fans come with like a basketball and have me sign it, which I thought was really cool. So.
Anybody else? Question? Raise
Right
your
over
hand.
there, right over there.
Hi, Kristy.
Hi.
I had a question from your time on Psych, actually. What was one of the most memorable moments that you had on the set, and do you have a favorite episode at all that you were in?
Well, first of all, I mean, working on that show was so much fun because those guys are hilarious. And, you know, they've been doing that show for so long. When I had come in, I think it was season 5 or 6 or something. And they'd been doing it for a long time. So they were like a family, you know, and it was just such a great energy. And they were so welcoming to me. And we had, is it Carlton and Marlo, right? So Carlton character, we just had a good chemistry together, and they were like, wait a second, we need to, you know, keep this relationship going, and they invited me to stay, you know, like to come back for some more episodes. I said, heck yeah, I'd love to. So I don't know, I guess the bathtub scene was pretty fun. There was that, I don't know what episode that was, but that was hilarious. Really awkward to shoot, but it was fun. It was really funny. So, yeah, I love those guys. They're great. Great show. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, right over here, third row.
Hi.
Hi.
I really loved you in Mannequin 2, one of my favorite movies from childhood. And I just wanted to know if you had any special stories from the time of filming it. And also, how were you able to keep a straight face with Meshach Taylor on set? Because he was hysterical.
Yeah. Meshach Taylor was so funny. Let's see. God, so long ago. And that was in Philly. We shot that in Philly. I had such a great experience on it. I had so much fun, and you know, they made 3 mannequins of me, right? And they gave me one of them, and I was like, what am I going to do with this, you know? And I asked my parents to store it at their house because I couldn't keep it in my apartment. It just was like weird, right? So I said, can you just store it in your garage or your apartment? And then the next thing I see, go visit my parents at their house, and my mom like has it in the house in like an outfit. It's like, and you know, in the foyer when you come in the front door and there's the mannequin. I was like, Mom, my God, this is so weird, you know? Like, what are you doing? So that was kind of awkward. Now I have the mannequin. It's in the basement. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some crazy story. Can't think of one right now, but I had a great time on that show. Yeah. And William Ragsdale is really nice. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Anyone? Bueller?
Right here.
Bueller?
When you were on Flowers in the Attic, what was the most memorable part about it? It's like I just love that movie, and I think about it from my childhood all the time. So, like, what's your takeaway on what was like your best part of it?
Flowers in the Attic was a great experience. I would say having the opportunity to work with Louise Fletcher, you know, alongside her was really cool. You know, I was 16 when I made that movie, so I was pretty young in the business, and I just, you know, I ate up moment that I was around her, you know, just to learn from her, you know, about just I don't know, I just took those opportunities with her. And then it was a true honor to have VC Andrews there. She came to the set, and she did a cameo in the movie. She's like one of the housekeepers, and she's just cleaning a window like this. And so if you look back at the movie, you see that's her. And but the sad part is that, you know, she got to know that her book was being made into a movie, but she actually passed away 2 months after we finished on my birthday. So she never got to see it, which was sad. But I mean, you know, it's really tough when you're making movies like that are so depressing and sad or spooky or weird. You know, it's like every day is just sort of a downer, you know, and you're like, God, I wish I was doing a comedy right now. But I learned a lot as an actor from that film. So it was just a really good experience for me, and, you know, sort of I don't know, it was kind of, you know, like life-changing. So it was great.
I have a quick question. What was it like working with Donald Sutherland?
Oh dear, he is awesome. Donald and I got along so well, and he was, I mean, just when I think of a true pro, it's Donald Sutherland. Like, he goes above and beyond. He does everything 150%, you know, and to the point of, like, I remember there was a night, because we shot a lot of nights on that film, because a lot of exterior night scenes. And he came back at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, he was wrapped for the day. They shot his side of the coverage of this scene we had out in an alleyway or something. And they wanted to shoot him out so that they could bring him in early the next morning and have his turnaround, you know, his hours. And he goes, well, you're shooting my coverage and Kristy's here for me off camera, but then you're going to shoot hers later. And they're like, yeah, well, he just went to, he wrapped and he went to dinner. He came back at 2 o'clock in the morning when they got to my coverage, because I was just going to do it with, you know, whoever would read off camera. He came in and did it for me. He goes, it makes a difference. He goes, it's going to change the performance if I'm not here. So I came back. And I was like, dude, you're so cool.
Was he at all intimidating to work with, though?
No.
Not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all intimidating.
That's great.
No. Mm-mm.
Got a couple questions here.
I know for an actor, working is your top goal, but is there a genre that you would like to be working in? Sci-fi, comedy, drama, something like that?
Well, I kind of like it all. But I've never really done like a Western. That would be fun to do, something like that. And you know, I'm just so great. You know, I don't ever think. I'm just so grateful after 42 years of doing this to still be doing it. You know, it's really amazing. You know, it's not an. You know, I'm just grateful that I've had the opportunity to be able to do something that I love doing and do it, you know, for a living, and so much so that, like, I just last weekend was at Montclair University in Jersey I was doing a student film for kind of a kid who takes hockey lessons from my husband. He's in film school, right? And I was like, if there's anything I can do, I'm here to support, you know. So I like working with the 18-year-olds who are learning film, you know, and go and work with them and teach them things that I learned and that I know, and sort of pay it back, you know what I mean? So, and it's fun to watch them be so creative and learning, and it's a cool little thing, you know? So they were all at my house. We had to do a reshoot, and they were all at my house till like 2 in the morning on Wednesday, actually. So it's like, I love doing that kind of stuff. So.
Another question right here.
I also love Higher Learning and The Phantom. Do you have any stories from filming those two movies?
Well, The Phantom was a fun movie to make because it's, period piece and you got these cool costumes and everything. And we got to shoot, we shot in LA. We started in LA, then we went to Thailand. We're in the jungle in the middle of nowhere. And then we went to Australia. So it was like, a true adventure. And I met my best friend there, my stunt double, Heather. One of my best friends. Like, we're still friends today. And it was such a great experience. So I had, a great time. The cast was cool. And then the other one, did you say Higher Learning? Higher Learning was really great. I loved working with John Singleton and the whole cast. It was, a heavy story. Actually, I think the original cut of it was like 3 hours long. Mm-hmm. And, it was a strong story, and he was a great writer and filmmaker, and another one that we miss, But it was, that character that I played, and some of the scenes I had to do, they were tough emotionally, but I think, I don't know what else to say. I mean, that movie was heavy. That was a heavy one. I don't know what else, you know what I mean? Like, it was tough. But a lot of people really like it. A lot of people come up to me and they say how much they love that movie or how it affected them, and I'm sure it did, so.
Got another question right here in the second row.
Okay.
Sitting down for this one.
Hi, Christy.
Hello.
Do you happen to remember your iconic message from Ferris Bueller, your first line?
Ferris Bueller, oh my gosh. He's sick. Sorry. Gotta get it. That's a tongue twister. He's sick. See, my best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with a girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I think it's pretty serious.
Wow.
Oh my God. I'm sure I might have screwed it up. I don't know.
That was darn close.
Oh, okay. See, I was off a little bit.
Tiny.
A little. Oh, darn it.
All right, we got a couple questions over here.
I have a quick question real quick about the Buffy film. How many stunt doubles did you have in that film?
Oh, none. I did everything. Just kidding.
I was going to say, dude.
I did all of the fights. Like, I did all the fight scenes. The only things that I didn't do were, like, the backflip gymnast stuff. But I did all of the fighting and the sort of the martial arts and all that. Motorcycle, I was not on or riding that. And then I did have a double when I had the sword fight with Rutger, because he was a little crazy with the sword. So when they were shooting his coverage, they had to put a double in just for safety. Yeah.
Just had to ask.
He was swinging that thing around, so it was, so it was just better that way. But all the fighting, I trained for I only trained 10 hours for the fighting, and and I really want to do the flying sidekick thing, so I just practiced it, but I had a back, I was pretty good with sports, and I took a lot of dance, and so I just learned it, It's like John Wayne says, you don't have to know how to ride a horse, you just have to make it look like you know how to ride a horse.
So it's more choreography.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, got some questions here.
To go along with the Buffy, have you ever got? Oh, I actually have two questions. One of them is about Buffy. Have you ever got to meet Sarah Michelle Gellar or do anything with her? And then the second one is not Buffy related. It's just I was just curious about working with John Hughes because I of course love him.
Yes. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, I did meet. It was kind of like, I think it was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. It was with a producer and a writer. There was like 6 or 7 people there about a future project, and I don't even remember what the name of it was, but I did get to meet her, but it wasn't about Buffy or anything like that. Really nice girl, but I just don't remember what the project was about, and I don't think it ever got made. Then, what was John Hughes. John Hughes was awesome. He's like such a cool guy. He originally cast, like when I met him, we just clicked when we met, and I mean, I think I was 15 when I did that, and he had me in this scene that he ended up shooting in Chicago. He ended up shooting it without me in Chicago because of logistics. So he wrote the Simone character because he called me and he goes, I have some good news and I have some bad news. He goes, the bad news is I had to shoot your scene because we were in Chicago filming at the school. And I think I was the girl on the phone, like the payphone or something. And he goes, but I've written you a new role. That's the good news. And I'm going to send it over. And they send me that thing. I'm like, I got to memorize this? Oh, my God. What am I going to do? You know? And so then I went to film it at Paramount Studios in the classroom. And we did all that. And he's like, I remember he was like typing on a typewriter. And he was writing some kind of wonderful while we were shooting Ferris Bueller. And it was like a typewriter you don't even plug in, you know? Right. It's like one of these old typewriters. And he says, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, nothing. And he goes, well, I did this movie. Well, it's called Pretty in Pink. I didn't direct it, but I wrote it. And we're reshooting the end of it. And the main character, Ducky, has to end up with a girl. And so, because we tested that original ending didn't work, so we're reshooting it. Will you be in it? Will you play Duckette? And I'm like, sure. And so that's how I ended up in Pretty in Pink. So it was very funny. He was a cool guy, really cool guy.
Okay, we got a question right here for you.
So you had said earlier about the reshoots for Deadly Friend. So was that, because I know that like there's a history about all those reshoots. Was it more like when you were filming it, was there already tension from the studio about reshoots, or is it something like you finished it and they called you up and like, we need to change and have you come back and reshoot all this stuff? Or did you have like a sense as you were filming it that the studio was like sticking their fingers in trying to change things?
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about, because there's a lot of like stories that, I don't know, well, this is the story I know because I was there, but the movie was called Friend originally, and it was based off of this book called Friend. And then the guy who wrote Ghost wrote the script, Friend. And then I guess Wes was wanting to try to do some stuff that was more, like a little less gore. He was just trying to, you know, play around and just do different things. And so the studio approved it. And then when I think we were maybe a week or two into filming, and then that's when the studio said, we want blood now, after seeing maybe dailies and stuff, that they just were like, this is a Wes Craven movie, we need blood, we need gore, we need this, we need that. So they wanted to change sort of the direction, and everyone had to sort of change tune, and but we adjusted, and that was fine. So they added some, you know, scenes like that, you know, and it turned out, I mean, it was fine. You know, it was good, and we still, you know, had fun. I think it was just the ending that we reshot, and then that scene with Anne Ramsey. It was just a couple things that we had to reshoot, and I don't think it had anything to do with that, because that had already been established that they wanted to change the feel of the movie. Yeah.
Got time for one or two more questions.
All right, we got a question right here.
So, hello, KRISTY Swanson. Great to have you with us. Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you. Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thanks. So, it's a two-part question. So, what would you describe as your favorite movie experience, and how was it being the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer and working with Paul Reubens and Joss Whedon during the whole movie?
Okay. So, working with Joss was really cool because, you know, he was young. Like, this was his, like, first movie. So he was, like, first man in, last man out. He was there all the time. So it was nice to have him on set because sometimes if it's just the director there who didn't write it with the vision, then if there's a scene that's not working or you need to change some dialogue, he was there to, help do that. So it was really nice having him there. And he was cool. That was just a fun movie to make. We had a great cast, and he was, I think he liked to be hands-on because he wanted to learn direct, he was basically there shadowing and learning how to direct and produce and do all those things. And now look at him. He's just amazing. So it was a great experience. And then what was the first question? My favorite movie experience. I don't know if I have a favorite movie. You look at him, I have, people ask me, what's your favorite movie, that you did? And I don't really have a favorite. It's more like, it's always about experience. So, like, 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, I'm sure a lot of you didn't see it because, nobody did. Yes. But it was like, it bombed, right?
It was an odd film, but it was great.
But I never laughed so much in my life. Every day I was laughing because the cast was so funny, and I cry laughing every day. So that was a great experience because George Hamilton and Diane Cannon and David Spade, it was just tears every day. I could just cry laughing, but too bad the movie didn't do well.
It's a great film.
Yeah, you think so?
I thought it was a lot of fun. It was definitely offbeat.
Yeah.
But I got a kick out of it. That's probably why it bombed.
I don't know. You never know why.
Yeah, strange.
So.
All right, we've got time for one more question.
Awesome.
It'll be right here.
Hi, I was wondering if you had to pick some kind of monster or magical creature that you had to be, like if you were going to be a vampire or a witch or a werewolf, like which one would you choose?
If I were to play one of those types? If I had to be one in real life? I'm so confused by this question.
Like all those real-life werewolves and vampires.
Yeah,
like all of those.
What?
We have them coming up.
I don't know how to answer this.
Let's do one more question.
I'm so perplexed. I wish I had the answer.
That is a perplexing question.
How about this one? One last question.
Yes.
Thank you. When you decided to be an actress, what age were you, and then who did you look up to at that point?
I was 9 years old when I started acting professionally, and I didn't really. When I was a kid, I was involved with a lot of I like dance. I would be in the local or school or church play or musical. I just loved performing, but I don't know if I knew what acting was. I didn't know what Hollywood was. I didn't know what a celebrity was or I didn't understand any of that. I would see kids on TV shows, or I was addicted to Lucille Ball. I watched her all the time. And I just saw them. I'd be like, who are those kids out? They're on TV. I can do that too. I want to do that. Then that's what I would tell my parents. And they're like, I don't know. That's in Hollywood somewhere. And I'm like, what's that? And my parents were like school teachers. They knew nothing about show business. And so I had some friends from kindergarten, because I only lived an hour and a half south of, I lived in Orange County, which is an hour and a half south of LA. And they did commercials. And I was like, you do commercials? And I see kids in commercials all the time. And so I said, I'm going to have my mom talk to your mom and see if I can do commercials too, right? So I set up this, because I said to my parents, I go, I can do commercials. These kids do it. I could do it too. And so I set them up to, talk about it. And I begged my parents. They said, no. We're not sending pictures and a letter to an agent in Hollywood. No. They didn't think that Hollywood might be, they just didn't know anything about it. So after begging to appease me, they finally took some pictures and sent in this letter to the agency. And it was a children's agency. And they called and they said, we'd like to meet, your daughter. And so I went up to meet them, and they had me read a script from the Bad News Bears, but we're talking like the original script. Like, this was like, I think this was 1979 when I, went up there. And then they said to my parents, "We really like her. We'd like her to go on an audition tomorrow." And they're like, "What? Okay. What are we getting into?" And I went on this dollhouse commercial for Tomy Toys, and I walk in. I'm just like wearing my best Sunday dress or whatever, and all these kids have all these pictures, and they're all, you could just tell they had like stage moms and stuff like that, and they were just like, I don't know. It was just interesting. I just walked in and I said, "I just got an agent," and I don't know what that means, but I'm going to be in your commercial. And I got the job, so and then it never ended. So that's when it all kind of started. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming back, hanging out with us, doing the questions.
you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank
KRISTY
you.
Swanson, give it up.
Hi, this is Michael Shanks, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The fate of the universe may depend on it. And have fun and follow your fandom.